Hello there. So this is how I painted my Nomad Chief, and this colour scheme can apply to all the other Nomads I paint as well. I primed it in black, and then I've dry brushed some white over the top to bring out the details, and our first colour is this military type of green. If you do struggle to get a good consistency with your paints, a flow enhancer or a medium thinner can be really helpful. If you prime your model in black and then put white over the top, it creates this contrast between light and dark, which gives you an idea of where the shadows and the highlights might be on the miniature, so it sort of simulates where light might catch it. So if you thin your paints down to more of a watery glaze consistency and put them over the top of a model that's primed like this, you can take advantage of those shadows. Because the paint you put over the top will be lighter where that white is and darker where the black is. Now we're tackling the leather areas and like the straps and things like that, so I'm going in with the Rhinox hide as our base colour. Next I'm grabbing some Dimble Brown and putting that over the top. The tunic accessory parts and some of the other little ornaments I'm doing in this smoke grey colour. This is similar to like a Slanesh grey. Now if you get some Rhinox hide and mix a lot of white with it. I essentially wanted an off-white colour which wasn't a bone colour. I'm taking advantage of that zenithal prime we've done, so that black and that white, the official term is a zenith prime highlight. So I'm essentially like glazing, washing black over the top of the areas which should be black, but because I've primed it in black and white, that black colour catches on the shadows and the highlights, if that makes sense. Next I'm using some Deathclaw Brown, and this is going over that stretched out material that's on the back of this model.
The next time you feel important.
Now I'm grabbing some metallics, so I'm going with quite an intense silver here.
Time you feel important.
I forgot to add that this is a copper colour I'm using from Darkstar. I've used it quite a number of times before, so I'm just picking out a few areas just to break out the metallics. Now everything done in contrast paint, so I'm using the Wildwood contrast paint. You can use a Grax wash or whatever else you want to, and I'm going over the tunic and the cloak areas. I'm not going over the metallics because I'm going to be using a different colour for them. So I'm using a sepia shade for the metallics to make them a bit worn and rusty looking. Now that the washes have dried, I'm going back over the tunic areas. So I'm just going back over that smoke grey, and I'm progressively adding more white to create some highlights and contrast. I'm doing the same for the cloak, so I'm just going back over with that green again and progressively adding more white and less areas to create some highlights. Now I'm highlighting the black area, so that kind of armour on the helmet and some of the little areas. I'm using a Thunderhawk blue here, which I think can be really great for highlighting black armour. So I'm just picking out a couple of the raised areas and using a much smaller brush. If you do make any mistakes, just go back over with some black.
The next time you feel important.
Now I'm adding a few more intense highlights, so I'm using a blue horror and just picking out a few small areas.
The next time you feel important.
For the last part, I am going over the lenses in red and then adding a dot of white to the centre and then blending that together. And this is the model pretty much done. I'll probably go back over it and neaten up some of the areas, but this is quite a cool result. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope this was helpful. I have other videos and links in the description.